Hi guys, this is Breaker and I am back with another replay between LATRATUS, belonging to my very own clan eXe in the upper right hand corner. And in the lower left, GosWser. He's actually being a very nice guy. He says, you're a nice guy, you're cool, you're awesome, that kind of thing. Kind of being the suck up, but I mean, like, here we are. This is basically, you know, your average Joe's going up against the pros, and we're gonna see just how this game turns out. But I do want to go ahead and stress that this is basically a warm-up cast. It's gonna be my first cast in like maybe 3 or 4 hours, and I'm gonna try and make the best of it. Earlier today I was casting the RSL, if you guys ever saw that, and I was casting it in English. Got about 3,200 viewers because Nathanias was actually absent, but it's just something that kind of warrants mentioning just a teeny bit. The only reason why I got that many was because we had no other English caster, and I'm a bilingual caster, so I do casting for the RSL in Chinese, but whenever there's no Chinese caster available, I do it in English. Or whenever there's no English caster available, I take over and do it in English, so yeah. He was busy moving to the root house, and that's about it, so nothing too terribly big in that way of things. But I want to go ahead and highlight that Millennium GosWser is actually, well, he was actually in the RSL, but he got knocked out, unfortunately. I mean, it was, what can I say? He was going up against Korean Code S players, like Korean GSL Code A, Code S players, Code A and Code S regulars, in fact. But, you know, I mean, there's only so much you can do, really. But as long as we're on the topic of him, he is going for a safe opener. He went for a, what is supposedly a 15 hatch, 15 pull in. Whoa. LATRATUS actually canceled that really early, I think. But he is being ultra annoying with that probe nonetheless. He delayed that natural by, I think, a substantial period of time. But what he did do behind all of that was basically he tripped up GosWser into spending his minerals on other things, not just the money for the hatchery, but I mean, like, he got a queen out instead of going straight up for his natural hatch. He also got an overlord out in the meantime. Just playing mind games, if you will. Now behind this we do have the Forge finishing up for LATRATUS, but we have no links coming from, LATRATUS, but we have no links coming from GosWser. For the time being, he's going to be just fine. And if you guys like what you see here today, just go ahead and, I guess, tune in to my YouTube channel, subscribe to it. I would be so ultimately grateful if you guys could do that for me. But aside from this, I will actually be casting the TESL tonight. That's the Taiwan Esports League, and it looks like I made a mistake when I called that out. LATRATUS did actually manage, GosWser did manage to get a few links out, but now we just see him trying to be annoying here, trying to force a cancel on that gateway. He knows he's not going to get it, but of course it gets canceled anyway because LATRATUS needs to go ahead and throw down a cybernetics code there. Behind this we see that GosWser is actually going for a somewhat early third. It's alright though. I mean, 4 minutes 15 seconds is when that hatch went down. Perfectly timely. I like to pay special attention to that because of course if you're going to go the 3-base Stefano Roach build, then you have to have that third down by about the 4-minute 30 mark, no later than that. Ling's here waiting, well, actually heading back home right about now. And we actually have a probe that's ready to throw down a pylon. Well, it was ready to throw down a pylon, but I want to just highlight for a moment that this is Daybreak LE. So this leads me to believe that this is part of a tournament or another. I think it might have been Zotac Cup. I think it was Zotac Cup is what LATRATUS told me. I actually didn't remember at the loading screen. I wasn't paying attention. And I can't remember if my XSplit was switched to it or not, but anywho, we got a shape up of a particularly ordinary game going. For the time being, I guess it's okay to highlight that there's double gas going down on the main for GosWser. I'm not sure what he has planned with this. It could get him, you know, it could get him a faster layer, of course. It'll get him his metabolic boost, unless he wants to just skip that altogether, because he is going to be focusing mostly on roaches with this build. LATRATUS goes ahead and just takes a second assimilator at the natural. He doesn't quite have enough in the way of gas income just yet. 3 gases. What can this lead to? Well, now at any rate, GosWser's temporarily supply blocked. He is now unsupply blocked, sort of supply blocked, and now he is totally unsupply blocked. But that's about to change as he's droning up heavily behind this. He's actually getting ready to pop 4 more overlords and then go straight into the roach production phase of the Stefano roach build. But I'm particularly confused as to why he doesn't have 4 gases altogether. So perhaps I called that out wrong. He's probably getting some defensive roaches out. He did see that his overlord was popped a little bit early. He's got bad vibes from all this. He doesn't have any real vision of what's going on in the main, but I'm pretty sure it was seeing that there was only 1 gas being taken at the natural that probably prompted him to do this. Better safe than sorry. He's getting some out. There's a forward pylon ready just at about the, let's see, 10 o'clock position-ish base. And now there's a lot of lings coming out. Metabolic boost is about to finish up. Roaches coming out now too, but here we go. GosWser has been tipped off. He knows it's up. And right now, if we check the army supply, it's heavily in favor of him. So I'm a little curious as to just what we're going to see our Protoss do here. I mean, if he tries and takes this head on, I don't have good vibes for it. But, you know, you could always use, what is it, the mass recall to get back home? Yes. Mass recall's function actually changed since Wings of Liberty, so I thought perhaps it was a different name for just a moment. Psycholinguistics. If you're not used to saying a word frequently, you will eventually forget how to say that word. It's called the tip of the tongue sensation. Alright, so behind this we actually see LATRATUS see, okay, well, I know what he's up to. I've got to try and get my economy up to par with his since I didn't do any damage just now, other than perhaps forcing larvae to become something other than drones. Force field going down, like, before anything from our Zerg comes up here, and you can see it, though. You can see it. He's like, okay, well, my opponent's ready to take me on, or at least he seems to be giving off the air that he's ready to take me on. Behind this infestation pit, glial reconstitution, no upgrades on this Zerg to the best of my knowledge. Oh, man. I don't know. He's trying to... I think he's jumping the gun with this. He's getting +1 carapace right now, but +1 armor is going to be finished long before that. With or without Chrono Boost. And beautiful force field is going to separate all those lings from the roaches, and this will give the zealots a better ground to engage them on. But behind this, it looks like the lings are actually going for the third. We see a couple of zealots being warped in over here to deal with that, and an immortal pops out just in time to deal with all these roaches. It's going to be micro back, giving the stalkers and sentries free reign over dealing out damage on everything that is chasing it down and dealing out DPS on it. Meanwhile, the lings barely did not get that third clutch hold by LATRATUS altogether. Wow, and even the Immortal is still alive at all of this. This is basically kind of been a double doozy for GosWser. He's thrown away a lot in the way of army supply. He's got a lot left over, don't get me wrong, but you know, just getting all of that and having no victory, no light at the end of that tunnel, just ouch. That doesn't mean he doesn't have another. That doesn't mean he's losing this game, not by any means. If we just check the army supply difference right now, that's all you need to know. It tells a story. He's got a lead. It's just not ideally where it should be, and he can fix that at any given moment. Now we do have the Twilight Council going down behind this. This can lead to blink, charge lots, or even, I'm trying to think here, some DTs going into the mix as well. At least later on it will. But wait a minute. I'm wondering if this is a mistake. Protoss shields are being upgraded right now. Interesting choice by our yellow Protoss. It really is. He's getting extended thermal lance as well. And 6 infestors are now on the way. I wonder if pathogen glands has been researched. It has been. Okay, so on the 4th base we now have double extractors going down. And I'm trying to make sure that I'm in tune to cast for tonight. Because today is the the Monday, July 8th, 2013, and I'm going to be casting all the weekend's replays from TESL, so I'm hoping you guys will enjoy the show. More and more pylons going down as LATRATUS sees that he is supply blocked, and he's got to get an army out fast. This one, it's kind of microscopic, if you will, compared to what we have from our Zerg right now. 181 supply to 120. This kind of reminds me vaguely of, I think it was an MLG or an NASL on Metalopolis, where we essentially saw EG's Idra facing off against MC, and what had happened basically was Idra was 70-something supply ahead of MC at a particularly, you know, a discrepancy resemblant to this one, but MC still won the game because of a misclick by Idra. He pulled all of his Broodlords out of position with no Hydras underneath them, and he had just gone straight up Broodlord Hydra at the time because no one really used Infestors back then. Zealot goes up, Changeling goes up and tries to get some read on just what LATRATUS is doing right now. But it looks like LATRATUS just shut it down as soon as it got up the ramp. LATRATUS wants to steal map vision. He wants to see what's up. But behind this we have the fifth base going down. The third is actually under a kind of siege by these roaches, and GosWser is actually trying to alleviate supply. So that means he's trying to make room for something, but what is he going to make? I see just +2 Carapace on the way. Oh, Corruptors. That makes perfect sense to me now. Well, LATRATUS now has +1 attack on the way. He's going to have Gravitic Boosters. I believe that is the upgrade for, what is it? Not Observe. Wow, I didn't think it was for Observers. I actually originally thought it was for Warp Prisms, but I don't play Protoss, so I wouldn't know that. A little bit too many in the way of pylons going down for our Yellow Toss, but he is getting ready to go with that Sky Toss composition. He was able to read into what his opponent is trying to do, and that was basically throwing away roaches. He knows what's up. He's like, okay, well, he's trying to clear up supply. He's trying to go with a different composition, and now I've got to do something to keep that composition from working against me. Behind this, the Ultralisk Cavern finished up, and now we have +3 Carapace, Chitinous Plating, and melee attacks level 2 on the way. I want to say right now that with what we have from LATRATUS, it may not be the most ideal unit composition. Even Void Rays with Prismatic Alignment do, I think, relatively little damage versus Ultras. But the good thing about them is that Ultras do not shoot up. They cannot attack anything in the sky, because Queens don't have the strength to throw them. You know what? Honestly, I've been wishing, kind of ever since I started playing Wings of Liberty, that Blizzard would basically integrate a patch in the game that would allow Queens to throw Banelings at airborne targets, and then that would let them do even more damage against whatever's flying their way. I think it would be particularly useful against Banshees in the early game. Silver Platinum days, let me tell you guys, back when I was that naive little player. Anywho, here we go. Huge engagement! It looks like we're actually going to see GosWser try and throw away his main army here. There's a couple of Void Rays here. Beautiful Fungal Ghost. Everything here covered in green. And it looks like the Void Rays are going to fall first. Prismatic Alignment not even activated on them, but there's plenty of Stalkers left over here on the ground. Nothing left of a ground army for GosWser, but he is remaxing on Ultras as we speak. Looks like that last Colossus will maybe fall. It does, just as the last Corruptor gets sniped. Oh man, that was a little deserving of pity, just a teeny bit from our Protoss, just a teeny bit. But overall, he's got to do something right now. He's got to immediately retaliate. He must be thinking to himself, okay, wait a minute, there should be a stream of Zerglings coming at me. And if there's not a stream of Zerglings, there must be something that takes an even longer amount of time to build, and that would be those 12 Ultras that I mentioned earlier. He's actually trying to metagame this out. He was throwing a small force of Zealots down here. It looks like he right-clicked them, made a slight mistake with that. But at the same time, he looks like he's going to starve out his opponent in the upper left. Alright, so here we go. Force fields get thrown down, but that only really delays everything just a little bit. And the one thing that's kind of nice is having those Void Rays covering the tail of those Stalkers. But here we go, Warp in of Zealots back home, and it looks like we're going to have just a couple of Zealots tickling away at what's left there. A couple over here, and the huge armies are going at it toe-to-toe. How are we going to see LATRATUS hold this? He's going to lose his 4th base. His main is already mined dry. I don't think he can afford to enter this kind of an economic situation. GosWser is now a 195 to 99 supply. He's actually double that of his Protoss opponent, and I don't think there's any coming back from this. But then again, there could be a slight chance because GosWser doesn't have any detection. Do we have, and we see, by the way, a Greater Spire on the way behind this. He lost one base. It's a base for a base, but of course our Protoss is further behind in this. Just look at the income. It's telling the story. He's only going to have this much more income for a few more minutes, and once that last mineral patch goes dry, well, it's already gone dry. Oh man, he's 900 minerals behind that of GosWser, and he's gonna try and hold on in this, but I don't know how it's gonna work out. Void Ray's prismatic alignment activated, corruption going down on these Void Rays, and it looks like we're just gonna see GosWser punch his way through this. He's like, no more Mr. Nice Gosu. There is, however, one hero immortal in the mix that's trying to get what kills it can. It's being microed back, and there's the GG. Well played from LATRATUS. Ladies and gentlemen, that was really something else, and I'm happy to cast it. This has been Breaker, and I will see you guys next time. If you would so kindly, just go ahead and click on the subscribe button.